If I asked you to tell me what's the number one thing that could get more sales to your food truck or your restaurant, what would you think it is? Would you say it's marketing, social media, or maybe some sort of promotion or some sort of coupon? Or what if I told you that that's exactly what you don't need? What if I told you that what you could do to double, triple, or even quadruple your sales is completely free? Well, today's video is going to explain the biggest attraction that gets people coming to your food truck or your restaurant over and over and over and over and over. And not only is this strategy rock solid gold, it's the biggest driver of sales, it's the biggest driver of loyalty and repeat business. Let's get into it. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, if it's not marketing, if it's not social media, if it's not some sort of promotion or coupon, well, what could it possibly be, especially if it's free, if it doesn't cost me anything? And it's something that people in the hospitality business understand really well. If you have never worked in a hospitality business, you've experienced this pretty much every day. You just might not pay attention to it. But what it is it's called the guest experience. And I really need you to really focus in on this guest experience, because what a superior guest experience does for your customers is it builds a loyalty to you and your food truck or your restaurant. It builds positive word of mouth marketing that will be spread to family, to friends, to basically anybody who will listen. People want to tell other people about their experiences, be it good or bad. I mean, that's a mixed bag, but either good or bad, they want to tell them about it. But it builds positive word of mouth marketing for you and your business. You get higher reviews on different sites like Yelp and, different sites where you might have some sort of scores or comments that are left. It builds higher value there. Loyal customers who love coming to you, they spend more. This is statistically proven. They will spend more money with you because of the positive guest experience that you give them. They're also less price sensitive, which means you can change your menu prices and go up a little higher, and they'll be more than happy to pay that because of the emotional experience that you give them in return. People will pay a premium for that. Some realize it, some don't. Some people go to certain places because they know other people won't be there, but so they'll pay a premium for an experience that in sometimes other people can't get, and in other cases that they know will be provided to them no matter what. Now, I say that it's free because it literally is. What this is a concerted effort by you, by your employees, by everyone there to give that experience to your customer. There was a survey done by Harris Interactive, and it said that 9 out of 10 customers will pay more to ensure a superior guest experience versus not. So what do you need to do to separate yourself to provide that guest experience that other operators are not focused on? Some operators are literally just there to take your money, give you what they need to give you in return, and then it's on to the next one. But the operators who focus on making sure that you have some sort of emotional bond to everything from top to bottom are the elite. So once again, how do you separate yourself from the rest of the crowd who may not be paying too much attention to this? And there's a handful of ways. The main way is you have to pay explicit attention to the details. Hospitality literally should be at the core of everything that you do from start to finish. People recognize that. I mean, think about when you go to anywhere, really. You notice when you walk in, somebody speaks to you and says hello, just a simple hello. Or you notice when you go to a drive-through, you notice the tone of the person on the other end of the microphone and how they greet you, even if they do that at all. Some people just say, well, how can I help you? Or, whatever it is. You're paying attention to what was said, how it was said. Was it dismissive? You pay attention to all that stuff. All that stuff goes into your total experience. That's just the beginning of your experience. And then you have a couple other what we call touch points throughout your experience that you grade essentially. Consistency is one of the keys that you need to have when you're providing memorable experiences for your guests or your customers, whichever term you go with. Basically, when it really boils down to it, is just execution, and more execution. Once you learn how to execute these systems, they become habits. When those habits then become a culture. Just think about like somebody like a business like a Chick-fil-A. One of their biggest selling points that people realize is their customer service, their guest experience, how they make you feel while you're there. But in order to execute at the highest level and provide the sort of experience that I'm talking about, you have to be organized with things that you do from the top of the list to the bottom. If you are organized and then you execute based off of that organization, trust me, you're going to beat the competition up, down, side to side, round and round. You're going to beat them. And your customers are going to remember that, and they're going to choose you over whoever else, especially if you're a food truck and you're in some sort of environment where other trucks, they're going to choose you. If they're thinking about what are we going to have for dinner, they're going to think that experience that you give them, they're going to put ahead of the line than some other restaurants or fast casual places or some food trucks. They're going to choose you. But you have to be organized, and through that organization, you get execution. One easy way to think about it and to put it into context is think about you're throwing a party, and you can have 10 people coming or you can have 100 people coming, but you want people to leave your party saying good things about your party, like they had a good time at your party. Your party was one of the best parties they've ever been to. Well, the only way for you to get that sort of outcome is through an experience that they had at your party. And you are sometimes throwing your own party can be one of the biggest stressing things that you can do, is because you want them to have that experience of a good time. Well, that's the mentality that you need to take in. How are we going to serve our customers? Be it, like I said, be it through quick serve in and out of a window, or be it as some sort of sit down restaurant through a server and everything that comes with the full restaurant experience. These different touch points all matter. The details matter. The execution matters. So here are 5 things that will help you build out the guest experience for your individual concept. Here are 5 things that'll help you focus on that. Number 1 is the quality. The quality of your food, the quality of the person who is helping that person, the training. Number 2 is the value. What value are you giving your customers? The value on your menu, your items, the price. Number 3, once again, you want to have great hospitality. You want to welcome people there with a smile, with eye-to-eye contact, as if I'm here to serve you. That's the mentality that either you and or the people who work for you should have, is I'm here to serve you. And in return, they pay for that service. But it starts with the idea of I'm here to serve you. Cleanliness, that's a big part of the guest experience that a lot of people overlook, because a lot of focus is on the food and all the other stuff. But before people eat anything, before people even talk to you, they're looking at things. They're looking at your food truck. Is it clean? What's your wrap look like? They're looking at your restaurant. What's the landscaping look like? Is there trash everywhere outside? Because I'm assuming if there's trash everywhere on the outside, well, there's probably trash everywhere on the inside. Your wrap is, torn and ripped, and it doesn't present well. Well, maybe the inside of your food truck isn't the cleanest either, and I'm getting ready to put food inside of my body from this truck that I can't even see on the inside of. They start to make assumptions. But if it's the complete opposite and it's clean and it looks well put together and organized, well, they're not guessing. They're not second guessing the food is coming out that window. The landscape and everything's clean at the restaurant and the windows are clean and the whole thing. They're not second guessing the food is coming out the kitchen, because if you can take care of the outside, well, odds are you can also take care of the inside. And number 5 is predictability. They know that when I come here, this is the standard. This is what I should expect. Your job is to exceed that. And everybody's not going to be perfect on every single day. So there may be days where somebody will come in and like, it's not usually, my ticket time does not usually take this long. The service usually isn't this slow. There are days where that's going to happen. Nobody expects you to be perfect, but the overwhelming majority of the time, the predictability of your establishment should be rock solid because of the systems that you have in place to execute. Some of you may be thinking that this stuff is common sense, but trust me when I tell you it's not. There are operators out here who miss the mark on this all the time, especially from top to bottom. They may hit a couple things, they may get a couple things right, but 10 out of 10, they don't. And if you really think about it, when you go places, and once again, this is not just tied to food, because everywhere you go and every business you go into and you have so many experiences every day that you don't even realize the experiences, as many experiences that you have. But as far as food operator goes, they miss the mark on a lot of this stuff. So when the one place gets it all right, that's when it becomes memorable, and that's when you separate. It's like, you might not even realize that you got them all right, but you can feel it. Emotionally, you want to go back because you want to experience that again. And that's when people pay more. That's when people come more. That's how you double, triple, and quadruple sales. I'm going to tell you guys a story, a true story of what happened to me one day when I was at an event with my food truck. And to prove it, because I just don't make stuff up that I say here, to prove it to you, I'm going to show you the email that was sent to me after the fact from the same guy who this happened to. So I got hired by a bank, a big, large national bank. I got hired by this bank to come and feed their employees for lunch one day. I wasn't the only truck there. I thought I was when I got hired, but when I got there, I saw other trucks set up. So they were having some sort of huge kind of event that day. So I get set up and they had these tables, these picnic tables that were plastic. And they were it wasn't a hill, but it wasn't necessarily the ground wasn't as flat as it could be. So we get set up, we're getting ready to open, and a couple people start to come out. They start trickling out. Well, one guy comes out, and he was one of the first to come out, and he orders from me. He goes to sit down at the table. He assumed that the table was this sturdy, well put together table, and I know he didn't look at it and decide this, but subconsciously he assumed that he would be fine. Well, he doesn't sit down at the middle of the table. Even if he would have, this same thing probably would have happened just from a different angle. But so he sits down on the corner edge of the table. The whole table flips up in the air because of his weight. And he wasn't even a huge guy. It was just the thing was plastic. The ground wasn't that flat, and he had his body weight. He sits down. The whole thing flips up. His food goes flying in the air. He goes tumbling over. And I'm sitting in the window along with the person I had working with me that day. And I don't even know I'm pretty sure the other food truck saw it too, including the other 5 to 10 people. I mean, it was just a big embarrassing moment for the guy, right? So immediately, without even thinking, I said his food needs to be replaced. And I'm not gonna I know he bought the food, and I know it wasn't my fault that he sat down and the food flipped up in the air. And just as a guest experience habit for me, because of the way I've been trained from the restaurants that I worked in over the years, just natural, it becomes a natural decision for me. I replace his food at no cost, and I sent who was with me that day out to help him get up and everything. And by doing that, the guy was embarrassed, like I said. By doing that, that moment was something that really meant a lot to him, because he knew, and everybody knew, that it was nobody's fault but probably the organizers for having those flimsy tables out there. But it was an emotional thing for him because his food got replaced, no questions asked. He didn't have to come up to me and explain what happened and have me. It was literally by the time he got up off the ground, his food was already coming to him, like being walked out to him. It happened so fast, and my decision happened so fast. Literally by the time he was getting up off the ground, the new plate of food was already there. Well, as you can see, he sent me an email explaining this to me, and you can read this yourself because, like I said, this really happened. But this is one of the experiences, this is one of the situations that some other truck or some other whoever may have said, listen, that's not my fault. Like I can't, I'm not giving him it's not my fault. He sat down, but what did I really lose? What did I really lose? Nothing. Maybe my food cost on that item that might have cost me, I don't know, $2 for something I was selling for 10. But his takeaway moment from that was so high, was so big. Not only did he want to email me later on that day, I'm sure he told, as embarrassing as that moment was for him, I'm sure he told multiple people about what happened because of the fact of how it was fixed and how he felt at my place that day. These are the type of things that get people talking, that get people that want to bring friends to you, that get people coming back over and over and over again. These are the kind of things that 2x, 3x, and 4x your sales. Not some social media campaign, not some coupon. Yes, those things can bring people to you, but they don't invoke the same type of emotion that you would get when somebody has an experience with you that they want to tell other people about, let alone something that they'll never forget. I guarantee you that guy, this was, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I don't have the email up in front of me as I'm recording this, but I guarantee you he remembers that day. So once again, it's the emotional aspect that's the most important part of your guest experience. So just focus on these 5 things. I know I mentioned a few things before, but just focus on these 5 things. What does your truck or restaurant look like from afar? Is it clean? What's the condition of your truck? What's the condition of your restaurant? Have you taken care of the aesthetics? Is it eye appealing? Because people get the food last. They have all kinds of experiences before they get the food, and those things matter. It's not just about the food. All right, guys. So this is something that could be talked about for literally hours because of the different aspects that come into this. But just understand that customer experience is driven by you and your employees. Customers are not going to come in and make their own experience. They may be there with a party, and that's an experience in itself. But everything around that is driven by you and your employees. And you need the details and customer experience are the only thing that matters. Every single detail. Once you start to build habits on these details, it's not as hard as it may seem on its face right now if you don't have any experience with this, but it's literally the details. Just put yourself in the position of your customer, or the next time you go somewhere, pay attention to the touch points, the different things that go on. When I'm walking up to what am I thinking about? When I come in, what am I thinking about? How was I greeted? Like, think about all that stuff. Write it down if you have to, because this is the experience that your customers are going to have with you. Very, very, very important if you don't want to be average. If you want to double, triple, and quadruple sales, you can do this. Is what you need to focus on, and it doesn't cost you anything. This is just hospitality. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.